Hello, this is Organization with Olu. Today we're going to talk about analysis, how to analyze like a boss. Remember, please remember to have watched my previous videos on knowledge and application. Okay, so stick around. I think you're going to like what I've got for you. Okay, we're going to go straight on to how you can score maximum marks, guys, in your analysis, how you can score top marks in your analysis. Remember, you must have watched my previous video, especially the last one on application. We discussed this 15-mark question. Do you remember? Hopefully, all of you remember this question. Discuss looser fiscal policy and supply side reforms, extract A. So what we talked about the previous video was how to draw out your application. Okay, and we're going to go today. We're going to talk about the analysis of it. We talked about this. I'm not going to read it again. You should have seen this. If you haven't, please watch the previous video. This was the case study. Okay, through the case study, we've started to do AO1 and we've done AO2. Now we're going to now do AO3. Okay, but before we do AO3, let us go into this. I want to take you here just to go over what we need to be doing in your analysis. Okay, so let us go here. Let's go a bit down. Let me take myself out of here. Let's go a little bit down, and here we go. Okay, so what we really want to talk about, as you can see initially, we're talking about analysis and evaluation, but we're going to talk about primarily analysis today, which is AO3. Okay, remember some of your teachers will use KAA. Okay, I use AO1, AO2, AO3, AO4. I like to clearly separate all of the areas and then bring them all together. Okay, so that's just my way of doing things. Okay, so we're going to talk about analysis. As you can see, let's just click this out of the way. Okay, AO3 is answering the question. A lot of people get confused with analysis. It simply means answering the question. That's all you need to do. It's nothing more complex than that. Just answering the question that they're asking you. And you must answer it with a chain of reasoning. Chain of reasoning. The initial picture I showed you was a chain. Okay. So what you really need to do, don't have a break in your explanation. In other words, step by step explanation, and there's no breaks in the chain, as you can see, which I showed you here. Can you see that chain? No breaks in the chain. Just step by step explanation. That's all you need to do. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go into an example of what I've done. Okay. Now, let's just make this a little bit larger. Okay. Now, remember we talked about the initial part of it. Again, I keep repeating it, but you need to go back to the previous video, otherwise you will become confused in this. We initially talked about the first paragraph here. We talked about, bringing in knowledge and bringing in an application. Okay, so I'm not going to repeat that here. So we've done all that, and now the next part is to start AO3, actually start answering the question. And a good way of doing it, leave a paragraph, make it clear to the examiner, and the first sentence, the examiner should know you're doing your analysis. Okay, so one expansionary fiscal policy that can be implemented by individual governments across the Eurozone. Remember, talking in context. In addition to the expansionary monetary policies already used in Extract A. Again, I'm utilizing the Extract A, okay, because they've already used monetary policies, but now they want to use fiscal policies, okay? Is a reduction of income tax across respective tax bands of existing Eurozone countries. Okay, so that's the policy I'm going to use. I'm going to reduce tax, income tax. I've made it specific. I haven't just said tax, because it could be corporation tax, could be VAT, could be anything. But what I've done is I've been very specific. Income tax. That's what you have to do to score top marks. Okay, primarily focusing on reducing tax for the lower income stroke middle income, as this group is more likely to utilize the increased disposable income as a result of income tax reductions. Okay, a rich person who suddenly has got more tax, has a reduction in tax, is not likely to suddenly, oh, I'm going to go and buy a TV. I want to now go and buy a car that I've been saving up a lot of money for. They probably have 3 or 4 cars anyway. So they're not likely to just go out and spend money. They might probably buy more stocks and shares. They might buy a holiday home, or they literally probably just save. Their marginal propensity to save will increase. Whereas somebody who's in the lower income or just lower stroke middle income will probably need to spend that money. So if you want to stimulate aggregate demand, you're probably better off focusing on those groups. And that's what I've done. And if you do that, the examiner will know you actually know what you're talking about. Okay, so primarily focusing on reducing tax for the lower income stroke middle income, as this group is more likely to utilize the increased disposable income as a result of income tax deductions, therefore increasing their consumption, as their marginal propensity to consume for these income groups is likely to increase. Can you see what I've done? Showing my knowledge, okay? Very important. Consumption is a major component of aggregate demand. An increase in consumption with all things being equal, this will shift AD to the right. This is shown in my analysis diagram below, okay? So I would normally draw a diagram below and show this, okay? As a reduction in tax gives a greater margin of propensity to consume, this pushes AD to AD1, keeping the inflation low, okay? I'm going to use a Keynesian diagram, and the idea is that you're not going to be at full employment, okay? You're going to use this to stimulate from AD to AD1, keeping inflation low. A spare capacity is still available. If you don't understand where the aspect of spare capacity comes from, watch my videos on the Keynesian diagram. We're not going to talk about that today, okay? It's something you should know. Go back to my previous diagrams and you should learn what spare capacity is on a Keynesian diagram. Okay. It's still available, as well as according to extract A, inflation is relatively low, and that's what it says in extract A. By reading extract A, inflation is very low, and I've been very specific. As future predictions in extract A is between 1 and 1.6. That's what is in the extract. Even predictions is 1.6, still below 2%. This is shown on my Keynesian diagram. How you show it in your Keynesian diagram? The price level, you simply put the price level maybe 1.6, something like that. Okay, so there's no inflation per se. There's no inflation that anybody needs to worry about. So you can afford to push out AD without having a corresponding increase in inflation. It's not going to be more than what is normal. Okay, so it's not going to go over the macroeconomic objective of 2%. So you can afford to push out AD because inflation rates are predicted to be low, not going to go beyond 1.6%. Okay. Next thing, potentially AD could move to AD2 with the multiplier effect coming into play. What you can also do as well, show potentially can also move not just to AD1, but potentially can move to AD2, which is in addition to the multiplier. Okay, so this is exactly how you do an analysis. Okay, chain of analysis. You make it very, very clear to the examiner, no breaks at all, step by step. Okay, you make your clear analysis point. Start it off. One expansion fiscal policy that could be implemented, so they know that you're doing an analysis point. Okay, you're making it very, very clear. So hopefully, guys, you benefited from this. My next one will be to develop this one and to evaluate this particular point. You have to evaluate the analysis point. So we're going to evaluate this point in the next video. So please smash the like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.